Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Andrew DiStefano from Putnam County Crime Analysis. Finally, I've moved on to proceeding with Bonadio Part II. The Bonadio Report Part 1 was probably about 2 weeks ago due to some computer issues. Been a little bit of a delay, but now we're going to go forward. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap so we can catch up. However, I do want to say that as I did when I made my first video 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, if you see me looking down at notes and looking up and constantly referring to written notes and different graphs and charts and data, these are my notes, okay? These are my notes, not someone else's. I produced my own notes. That's a result of studying for 10 years on the PhD level. I produced these notes. I spent about 3 months looking at Bonadio Report from a position of not knowing a lot. I was able to get a copy of the report, but in 2022, for about 3 months straight, I did an analysis of the Bonadio Report, and I produced about 3 full legal pads. So if you see me looking down and looking up and I'm referring back and forth, it's because I can. All right, these are my notes. So let me just recap real quick, all right? Sometime late in the year 2020, $45,000 in Putnam County taxpayer money was spent on a due diligence consulting group, the Bonadio Group, out of Manhattan. And they were retained to look at the spending and the overtime at the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. Now, as everyone knows, the election for Putnam County Sheriff was in November of 2021. And common sense dictates that a negative report on Democrat Sheriff Robert Langley at that time was going to hurt Langley pretty badly in the upcoming sheriff race. And yes, it is important to say that. So no doubt the timing of this report is propitious. Now, as a backstory, and according to newspaper accounts that I do remember at that time, there was constant criticism against Sheriff Langley about his overtime and his staffing. Despite the fact that when they hired the Bonadio Group, we were months into a COVID pandemic shutdown, and the county is ordering an audit on the Sheriff's Department of their overtime and their staffing. When half the department is out sick, I want you to understand that. Half the department is out sick. The other half of the department is fighting to survive, and guys coming to work to cover the other half that are out sick. And you order an audit on the Sheriff's Department's overtime and staffing? What I would really like to know is who came up with this ridiculous idea of hiring Bonadio in the first place. It wasn't just the county executive sitting there waking up one day and deciding that she wanted to hire the due diligence company to look at the Sheriff's Department, all right? A few people, common sense dictates, a few people got together and decided they were going to get this done. And, you know, it would be nice if they came forward and admitted it and just tell me why you did it. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. So essentially, just to move forward on it, as I said, this was a few months prior to the election for Putnam County Sheriff. And I don't know the true purpose of this report. I don't know why they authorized it. I don't know why they ordered it. There was nothing outstanding. And to this day, no coherent reason has ever been brought forward as to why this report was felt necessary to spend $45,000 of your tax money. All right. Now, the report was ready for release just prior to the election in November of 2021. It was ready for release. And that's when the county executive's office started hitting Bonadio. They started hitting him with revision request after revision request after revision request. Not once, not twice, 3 times. 3 revision requests. Each request more useless and inane than the next. There was no purpose to any of these revision requests. The only thing that I can see as far as these revision requests, that the county, the Putnam County government was temporizing. In other words, they were doing it in order to gain time. They were taking an action. That's what temporizing is. And they use that term often in crime analysis. Temporizing. It's to take an action in order to gain time. So they were putting in these ridiculous, useless revision requests in order to put off releasing the report. So why would they wait? Why would they want this report released after Election Day? That's something that really stood out. And I tell you what, I could tell from the report, from the Bonadio report, that Bonadio was getting pissed off. They were getting pissed off because these revision requests were ridiculous. They had nothing to do with anything. And yet they just kept putting request after request after request, to the point where Bonadio let them know, look, you do this one more time, you make us do this one more time, and we're going to start charging you extra money. And you know what? The county executive's office didn't care. It's clear from the documents. They didn't care. You know why? Because it wasn't their money. It wasn't their money. It was our tax money. That's what's so suspicious about this whole thing. So essentially, what happened was, when the report was finally released in June of 2022, now the election, again, was in November of 2021. The report was released in 2022, right? The sheriff's department, meaning the sheriff, gave an oral presentation to the legislature. Not written. There isn't a single document, nothing, no report was submitted to the county. For some reason, for some unknown reason, the county executive, I guess, had the sheriff get up and give an analysis of the Bonadio report. Lasted about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, as to why the Bonadio report was so defective. I've never seen anything like this before. They spent $45,000 on a report to a major company. Bonadio has been around for 40 years. You don't survive in this business unless you know what you're doing. You don't survive in this business by making defective reports. And now you have the sheriff standing up there talking about how Bonadio got it all wrong. So the sheriff got up, and when he was asked by one of the legislators, Nancy Montgomery. He was asked, because I have the whole, I have a video of the meeting. He was asked, where are you getting your information from? Where are you getting your analysis from? And the sheriff said, I have a command staff. So I assumed this was a group effort, but it was a bad group effort. All right. So the sheriff put forth six reasons as to why the Bonadio report was defective. I'm telling you for a fact, all six of those reasons were themselves not only defective, a couple of them were actually desperate. It was sad to watch. I don't know what was going on in their mind. I can pretty much figure it out, at the end. But they gave six reasons as to why the Bonadio report was defective. So instead of putting everything together, I'm going to be doing a single video on each of the critiques given by the sheriff's department. And this way, it's going to make it a lot easier. It's a lot easier to follow. Last time I did it, it was 1 hour and 3 minutes. It's way too long, far too data intensive. All right. But I do want to stress again, when the sheriff got up and he gave his presentation, you want to say, there was no written report. His presentation was devoid of any facts or any analysis from himself. He didn't provide any analysis from the sheriff's department. He just attacked the report. If you're going to attack the report, you got to say why. You got to provide a counter analysis. The sheriff's department provided nothing. And that leads me to another question. If the sheriff's department was so knowledgeable in this field, then why did we spend $45,000 on this report? Why didn't we just tell the sheriff's department to do it? I mean, it was ridiculous. It was really ridiculous. So we hired the Bonadio group. This is what's presented to us. We hired the Bonadio group, $45,000 in the middle of a COVID pandemic shutdown. They do this report. The report comes out. For some reason, county executive's office does not want the report released before Election Day. They don't. They apparently did, and then all of a sudden they changed their mind. They didn't want it released till after Election Day. Then it's finally released after some public pressure when people found out about it. And then when they released it, the sheriff gets up and talks about how the report itself was wrong, and the report was defective, and the report was not accurate, and they gave inaccurate analysis when they did not. I'm telling you for a fact. I not only is nobody in this county as knowledgeable in this subject than as me. I went over this with my professors. I made this report a school project in 2022, and I got an A on it. Okay. Now, this is going to be the end of part 2, and then I'm going to go right into, I'm going to give it a couple of days. I'm going to go right into part 3. But I just wanted to give a little bit of a running start as to show where we are. When they hire the Bonadio Group, $45,000 of your money, then it's supposed to be released before Election Day. All of a sudden, they want it released after Election Day. Then they have the sheriff get up and just attack the report and say, the report's no good, goodbye. And now the report's missing, by the way. You know, you see me put the report on the milk carton. It's because I did a foil with the current county executive. He came in at the end of 2022. I believe, yes, at the end of 2022, he came in. Kevin Byrne came in. Sometime between June 2022 and December 31st of 2022, there's no report. I asked him for a copy of the report. I foiled it from his office. It's not there. How does a report, $45,000, get lost? How does that happen? You know? So they get a report, and then they attack the report, and they say the report's no good, and have a nice day. Let's just forget about it. I mean, I've never seen something so ridiculous. I will tell you this. I've been here now in Putnam County for 25 years. I've never seen anything so dishonest as, I mean, this is outright public corruption here. Because later on, I'm going to get into a lot of stuff after the 6 defective critiques. But I'm going to say this, though, because this has to get said. If Kevin Byrne is the county executive now. He's been the county exec for 2 years. And take this for what you will. If I went up to Kevin Byrne and I said to him, hey, Kevin, guess what? I'm going to run for sheriff. You know what he'd say to me? Great. Good luck. What do you want from me? That's what he would say to me. He wouldn't say to me, oh, let me help you. Let's spend $45,000 of the people's money, and we can hire a due diligence company, and we can get a negative report on the incumbent sheriff to make him look bad. All right? He would never do that. And if he did, he knows I'd be disappointed in him. And conversely, if I said to him, Kevin, I want you to hire a due diligence company at taxpayer expense, and we're going to go after the incumbent sheriff. I want you to produce a negative report on the sheriff. He would be very disappointed in me. I know he would, as he should be, because that's dishonest. That is dishonest. So, in any event, this is the end of part 2. It's about 4 minutes more than I wanted it to be, but here we are. Okay? You have a great day, a great night, and God bless.